Welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess, and we do these live streams every single day around 11 a.m. We are a little bit early today, so I hope a lot of people still see that we are live. We have put a tweet out on Twitter. If you wouldn't mind going over to there and retweeting that tweet to help us with the algorithm as well, that would be much appreciated. We are back in the studio today. The quality is back. We've got a nice microphone and camera, so the production should be much better today. I'm happy to be back in the studio now. We were trying to use a little small microphone that wasn't really doing its job correctly. Let's take a look at the Crypto Saving Expert website anyway and see what the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum is today. We have seen some movements to the downside. We are going to cover this in today's stream, discuss why this has happened. The Fed have not said some positive things, so the whole markets have taken a crash. We will discuss this today. Let's take a look. Currently, Bitcoin is sat at $22,020 and Ethereum is sat at $1,553. So Bitcoin's seen a 7.67% decline in the last 7 days. This is obviously quite upsetting to see. I need to share my screen so that you can see what is happening here. Not very happy to see this, but obviously we had that explosive move to the upside. So seeing pullbacks is still healthy, and building those supports is still a healthy thing for the longer term in the markets. But we have a lot of news to discuss today. So let's take a look and see what is happening. Nick Nee said, "Your boss is a champion legend." I'll pass it on. Let's take a look at the news now anyway and see what's happening. Before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. First, we have FTX debtors sue Grayscale over redemption of Bitcoin and Ethereum trust funds. So, the debtors of bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX have filed a lawsuit against American digital asset management firm Grayscale Investments, its CEO and owners Digital Currency Group, and Barry Silbert. So, according to a press release, the lawsuit was filed by the debtors of FTX's trading company Alameda Research at the Court of Chancery in the state of Delaware, and the debtors are seeking injunctive relief to unlock over $9 billion in value for shareholders of the Grayscale Bitcoin and Ethereum trust funds. And they intend to maximize FTX's return to its creditors and customers through more than $250 million that will be released from unlocking the trust funds. Recall that investors' funds are locked up in the assets as Grayscale halted redemptions due to an ongoing court case with the US, the SEC, over its rejection of a Bitcoin spot traded fund application. And the proposal submitted in 2021 was rejected because the product did not meet the SEC's standards established to protect investors from fraudulent and market manipulation prices. Now, we did actually see some more news about this yesterday. I am going to pull this up. It's from the competition, but I think it's worth reading about. Let me find where this article is. We have this big news. So judges express skepticism of SEC arguments in Grayscale Bitcoin ETF hearing. So let's open up this link and I can show you this here. So we see the panel of appeals court judges question the SEC's logic. Oh, let's get off this. In drawing a distinction between Bitcoin spot market prices and futures market prices. And a panel of judges appeared skeptical of the US SEC arguments during an appeals court hearing in Grayscale's ongoing bid to convert its Grayscale Bitcoin Trust to an exchange-traded fund. And the company went to court Tuesday to argue the SEC's denial of its ETF application was arbitrary, telling the panel of judges that Grayscale is asking to be regulated by the SEC through its conversion of GBTC to an ETF. Grayscale is a subsidiary of Digital Currency Group, CoinDesk's parent company. Obviously, we do want GBTC to be converted into an ETF. We want to have spot Bitcoin futures, and this would be a positive thing for the industry because it means we can see more adoption because traditional investors are more likely to get into the space if we have a spot Bitcoin ETF, because it means they can invest using traditional financial methods, which they are already used to, so they'll feel more confident to do so. Some people get scared away from cryptocurrency because they don't know how to buy cryptocurrency. They don't know how to store cryptocurrency. And those traditional investors stick to just the stock market. But if we have a Bitcoin ETF, a spot Bitcoin ETF, it could mean that we could see a huge amount of adoption. And eventually, those ETF investors may actually decide that they should move into the cryptocurrency space and hold their assets in a non-custodial wallet and really adopt the technology for what it is used for. But this is a great way to see adoption within the space if the GBTC does manage to convert into an ETF. So we've seen a little bit more news about this unravel as this court case unravels. Let's take a look at the next article we have here and see what is happening. Before we continue, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press your the bell notification button. Taking a look at the chat, Michael said you're early. Yeah, we are early today, says Jason. We've got our coffee though to make it through the day. We'll be back to normal time tomorrow. Let's take a look at this article and see what's happened. Uranium Finance hacker moves $3.35 million in stolen Ethereum for the first time since 2021. So the hacker stole this from the AMM in April 2021. The wallet address associated with the hacker, who exploited BNB chain-based automated market maker Uranium Finance, has been reactivated after almost 2 years of dormancy. The thief moved stolen funds to the US-sanctioned crypto mixer Tornado Cash. Now, this is the benefit we have with using a blockchain. All transactions are transparent. We can follow the transactions. As soon as that hacker decides to move those funds, we can see that clearly on the blockchain, and that is why blockchain is so beneficial and the transparency is so important. But using that cryptocurrency mixer, it can remove that trail of where that cryptocurrency has come from, and therefore it may enable the hacker to actually gain access to those funds and to be able to use them. And that is why the US have sanctioned the cryptocurrency mixer Tornado Cash. But it's not the only cryptocurrency mixer out there, and we have also seen in a news article yesterday that one of the early contributors to Tornado Cash has actually began a new crypto mixer that is trying to abide by the US regulations and trying to move forwards and still allow us to have some sort of cryptocurrency mixer within the space. But back to this article, that was a complete diversion of the story. Uranium hacker moves $3.35 million in stolen ETH. And we can see this clearly on the blockchain. It's after 647 days of dormancy in the wallet associated with the hack has been spotted moving funds to Tornado Cash. And the question is it a bug exploit or a rug pull? So the funds are part of the assets stolen from Uranium Finance 2 years in what the platform claimed to be a bug exploit, but appeared to be a rug pull. While the stolen assets remain locked up in the hacker's contract, several questions about the incident have remained unanswered. After the hack, the team behind the project shut down the platform, asking users to remove their remaining assets from its pools. As of then, the Uranium team disclosed that it was working with the Binance security team and was in the process of handling the issue. However, there has been no update from the project to date. So very interesting there. Let's see what's happened next and see what is going on. Let's take a look at the 3 most common ways people lose their cryptocurrency. So we're trialing a new type of article on the Crypto Saving Expert website this week. We're trying to bring in some evergreen content throughout, peppering that throughout the breaking news stories. So make sure to check these out. They're just fun, interesting new articles to read. Definitely recommend these. Let's move on to the next breaking news story though and see what is happening. 3 Arrows Capital, Su Zhu and Kyle Davis reportedly raised $25 million to launch the OPNX cryptocurrency exchange. So the 2 of them, the co-founders of the now defunct crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital, have reportedly completed the first round of funding for the development of the OPNX crypto exchange. Now, 3 Arrows Capital is one of the first companies to be affected by the UST depeg. And that was towards the start of 2022. I mean, UST pegged in May 2022, and then we saw this huge domino effect with many different cryptocurrency companies collapsing, and 3 Arrows Capital was one of the first to do so following the depeg. We can see here the funding process so this is the co-founders of 3 Arrows Capital. The funding process of the new OPNX crypto exchange by the 2 3 Arrows Capital co-founders was revealed via a tweet by DeFi analyst, and that is the tweet there. So the initial investors of OPNX remain private. In a follow-up tweet thread from Su Zhu, he retweeted that the fundraising deal is done. They, however, added that the initial investors of the exchange would not be revealed, as most exchanges don't do so. In addition, said the Twitter account said the primary goal of the OPNX crypto exchange was to provide a platform for crypto users who lost billions due to bankruptcies to trade their claims in a simple way. And they've said, There are over 20 million users who lost $20 billion due to the latest bankruptcies of CeFi companies. Bankruptcies take years to resolve, as we've seen with the Mt. Gox 9-year process. And that, it looks like it's coming to an end this week. I believe that is in just about 2 days. So we can see here they are lowballed and sell their bankruptcy claims for cents on the dollar instead of waiting years for the bankruptcy process to conclude. There's also no simple way to sell these claims, especially for investors who are too small for over-the-counter deals. US residents will not be allowed on OPNX. So they will therefore be onboarded through a special purpose vehicle, also known as bankruptcy remote entry. They will also need to pass the regular know your customer procedures. However, US residents will not be allowed on OPNX. OPNX will then group and tokenize similar claims, which will be traded on the exchange, but the withdrawal of the tokens will be disabled to avoid interacting with Americans. Very interesting. This is a very interesting platform. Something we definitely needed from the fallout of 2022. I imagine this could do pretty well. I mean, it's not something that is very common. It's something that could be used quite nicely to help recoup users' losses from the fallout of 2022. Now, before we continue with today's stream, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button so that you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news, so we all know exactly what's going on. Let's take a look at the next article here and see what is happening. We have Flex token pumps by 19% after CoinFlex reveals approval of its restructuring plan. So CoinFlex Exchange has said that its restructuring plan has been approved by the Seychelles courts, causing the value of the Flex token to rise by 19% in a day. Now, this is a big rise, especially for a day where Bitcoin is moving to the downside. So the CoinFlex Crypto Exchange announced on Tuesday that the Seychelles courts approved its restructuring plan, and the exchange added that the courts would likely publish the written order before the end of the week, and they would share it as soon as they receive it. Trading of locked assets has been halted. We are looking to implement the restructuring quickly and will not restart locked assets trading until 24 hours after the publication of the court order to allow all locked asset holders to be sufficiently informed. News of the approval of CoinFlex's restructuring plan caused a knee-jerk reaction to the price of the Flex token. The digital asset opened the day at $1.73, only to pump by 18.88% to a 24-hour high of $2.06, as seen in this picture here. So more on the CoinFlex restructuring plan. They mentioned the CoinFlex restructuring plan was filed in the Supreme Court of the Seychelles on September the 21st. The plan was in response to CoinFlex's $84 million debt owed by a large individual customer, and later revealed by the exchange's CEO to be Roger Ver, also known as Bitcoin Jesus. So we did see a little bit of news about this a couple of weeks ago, and CoinFlex then proposed a plan, months ago. The time goes so quickly in cryptocurrency. CoinFlex then proposed a plan to equitize the crypto exchange, with creditors owning 65% of the company, and the team will then be allocated 15% vested over time. The other 20% will be issued to Series B holders, and OPNX plans to acquire all assets of CoinFlex, that is the exchange we've just been talking about in the previous article. Let's continue now quickly and see what is happening, because I am getting aware that this stream is running a little long and we haven't gone through half of today's news. Before we continue, please don't forget to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so that you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do these live streams every single day at around 11 a.m. We are a little bit early today, but we'll be back to normal time tomorrow. And we can see here that there is a quick project overview, and this is about an Ethereum layer 2 solution. So this is trying to help Ethereum become more scalable, have lower transaction fees, and have faster transaction speeds. Now, we can have a whole overview in this article if you are more interested into this. We did speak about this in yesterday's live stream, so I thought I'd just bring this up. This is the Ethereum layer 2 scroll, raises $50 million at $1.8 billion valuation ahead of mainnet launch. And this is the article we discussed in yesterday's stream. So if you want to learn more about that, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. And you can find this article here where you can have a complete breakdown of the project. Let's move on to the next article now. We have this picture is making me incredibly jealous of anybody that's on holiday right now. Thailand exempts corporate income taxes for investment tokens. So the Council of Ministers of Thailand, referred to as the cabinets, have agreed to waive corporate income and valued asset taxes for companies issuing crypto investment tokens in the country. So according to the report, a spokesperson for the cabinets said the move will cost the government around $3.71 billion in tax revenue, as the country expects that the companies will create 128 billion baht worth of tokens in 2025. In addition to the tax exemptions, the companies can explore other opportunities for raising funds through investment tokens. So Thailand are trying to be a jurisdiction where people feel comfortable to launch their cryptocurrency projects. And they are not trying to regulate in a way that stops people from moving to the region. It means that they are allowing cryptocurrency adoption and creation within the space. And crypto issuers can also source funding using traditional methods such as debtors, while the country has just absolved these companies from paying corporate taxes. Retail investors in Thailand will continue to comply with the existing tax rules. Last year, the country relaxed its tax rules for digital asset investments, allowing traders to offset annual losses against gains generated in the same year. Now, this is what we see typically in the UK, but obviously that was only added to Thailand's rules last year. We are seeing Thailand try and understand the different cryptocurrencies a little bit more and seeing them, taxing them in the correct way. And if they tax them in the correct way and the regulations aren't too harsh, that means that cryptocurrency companies could choose to grow within the jurisdiction, and therefore Thailand can benefit from that greatly. So although that they've taken this tax cut and it could cost the government around $3.71 billion, it could create a huge amount of money flowing into the jurisdiction as well. Now, we also have seen, though, that while Thailand sits amongst the friendliest crypto countries in Asia regarding crypto taxation, the country's central bank and market watchdogs announced last year they plan to regulate crypto usage for payments. And the regulators said the guidelines sought to protect the country's financial stability and help combat crypto use for money laundering activities. Shortly after the disclosure, the country permanently banned virtual assets as payment method, which became effective in April 2022. So it's very uneven ground there on the explanation of what's really going on, but I'm sure we'll hear more about this in coming weeks. They're saying they don't want it to be used as a form of payment, but if you trade the asset and use it as a trading tool, then you can have those lower taxes. Or if you use them to actually create a cryptocurrency and you are that company, then you get those lower tax advantages as well. Let's take a look at the next article now and see what is happening. We have Bitcoin's $22,000 support weakens as Fed Chair Powell warns of higher interest rates. Let's first discuss this one, actually, because on that one, we'll discuss the price chart of Bitcoin and how it has been affected by the Fed yesterday. So let's start from the beginning and see what is happening. Let me just read the chat and check. It's all very busy in the chat today. Nick Me said, if there were more of the positive energy coming into the crypto space as there is coming through George, crypto will reach its potential in a heartbeat. I appreciate the energy he pumps into the space. He is a very positive person within the cryptocurrency industry, and it's refreshing to be around, especially in a bear market. To stay positive during those times is very, very difficult. Let's take a look at this article. Though the US court overrides SEC's objection and approves Voyager's $1 billion sale to Binance. So a couple of weeks ago, the SEC objected to Binance acquiring Voyager's assets. But now the US courts have overridden that decision. Overrid? I don't know what the past term would be. Let's take a look at this. Binance is still Voyager's best bet. With the court's permit, Voyager now has weeks to decide whether to accept and close the $1 billion deal with Binance.us or liquidate on its own. According to the report, Voyager will have an additional $100 million from the Binance deal than if it liquidated its assets by itself. Also, selling to Binance would enable the company to return up to 73% of what is owed to customers, subject to crypto price changes. However, Voyager will have to question Binance.us about various federal investigations before proceeding with the deal, the company's lead investment banker said in a recent court hearing. So Voyager losses $10 million per month amid delays in Binance deals. This has been delayed, and we just need an answer for this. Now we've seen this what was it? The US court override the SEC's objection. We are starting to see some movements now. How long did it say we've had? That they have now weeks to make this decision. So we are seeing some movements forwards for Voyager, and this has been long coming. So it's positive to see this news. Let's take a look at what the Fed have done to the markets anyway, because they've absolutely dumped at the markets. Let's take a look at this. We are currently trading at around $22,000 for Bitcoin. We were within a range of around, we had a pretty nice support here at $22,150. We did shoot below that entirely. We have now come up and used this level as a resistance. This one here, I would say at 22,250. And now we've seen a continued move to the downside. And this all comes off the back of Jerome Powell. So let's take a look at this. Where should we start? The US Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell warned on Tuesday that interest rates by the central bank would likely go higher than earlier forecast. He stated that recent data showed that inflation was still hot despite ongoing efforts to tame it. And he said the latest economic data have come in stronger than expected, which suggests that the ultimate level of interest rates is likely to be higher than previously anticipated. If the totality of the data were to indicate that faster tightening is warranted, we will be prepared to increase the pace of rate hikes. And analysts and policymakers have initially estimated that the ongoing interest rate hike would peak at a terminal rate of 5.1%. But the chairman did not disclose how high the rates could go, but his recent remarks have led to new predictions of 5.5% to 5.75%. And we have covered a lot of ground, and the full effects of our tightening so far are yet to be felt. Even so, we have more work to do. So Powell's remarks on possible higher interest rates immediately affected Bitcoin. We can take a look at this today. Now, the interest rates directly affects the price of Bitcoin. The interest rates is the interest that a bank will pay when lending money overnight from one bank to the other. And therefore, if that's high, it means interest rates for you and I are high, just as retail investors. If we want to take out a loan, if we want to take out a business loan, those interest rates are rising. So less people are taking out that loan, and therefore less people have liquid money just to invest into. When interest rates are high, people move out of risk on assets, and Bitcoin is an incredibly volatile asset. So Bitcoin is immediately negatively affected when interest rates are high. But this is all coming down to try and help with inflation. And when people realize that inflation is occurring and the rate at which inflation is occurring at and how much higher it could become, people realize that Bitcoin is a brilliant asset to hold for the long term. Bitcoin has a maximum supply of 21 million Bitcoin, and it is never going to change. It is put into that code and it is not changeable. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart anyway to see what's going on here. Let's do a little bit of analysis. Let's remove all these lines from the chart and see what is going on before we continue. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's see here. We are currently sat at the $22,000 level. I know a lot of people were trying to hold on to this point here. And we have seen, let me get that line drawn correctly. This is the point that we were looking at because it has this level of support here and again here and again here. We have now broken down below that. It's not looking good. We have that at $22,200 right now. So we're waiting to see how that plays out. We also have a level of support in the short term, exactly where we are from this wick back here. So we'll see if this holds on the 4-hour chart there. If that does, if we don't see a candle close below that level, we could still be okay. That is at the $21,975 level. So we'll see how that plays out there as well. We also have used that as a level of resistance in the past as well. So I would say that is actually a pretty strong level to be watching out for. Let's take a look at some indicators anyway. So on the 4-hour chart, Bitcoin is looking slightly oversold with the RSI down at around 32. And on the MACD, it's looking pretty neutral. We aren't too far away from that baseline. It looks like we could be ticking into bearish momentum, but it's not incredibly strong at this point in time. If we go on to the other time frames, we're going to see something similar. We have seen that sideways action where the indicators will sort of reset and go back to that neutral point. And then when we see that move to the downside, we'll see this of reaction where the RSI signals slightly oversold and the MACD looks like we could be seeing a little bit of bearish momentum. But that's what we're looking at for the price chart of Bitcoin right now. Hopefully we hold these levels, but as I said, we are in a point now where we're just creating more and more levels of support. Bitcoin's not going to die, in my opinion. We are going to see another bull market, and we are just waiting for that point in time. The lower the prices go, the more opportunities we have. And also, creating supports is never a bad thing. We're consolidating at those lower levels, building more supports for the next time we do see a move to the downside. So everything is positive. Either way is a win. We do currently have a CME gap down at $20,000, and we also have one up at $28,000. So we'll see how that plays out and if those levels get closed. That is all for me from me for today. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, we will be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and press that bell notification button so that you don't miss it.